Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with my mid-April reading wrap up, where I talk about the first half of the books I read in the month of April 2021. Before I get into the books, I would like to remind you that in the description down below there are links for ways you can support and help to stop Asian hate and stop AAPI hate. Once again, AAPI is Asian American and Pacific Islander. And ways you can support Asians, particularly those living, working, or staying in the United States. The ways you can help those who have been attacked and or killed, helping them and their families, getting legal support, dealing with other things that they have to deal with. There are links for you to learn what is going on, what are the various situations, and in particular there's a link where you can take a free short seminar type thing to find out how you can help de-escalate a situation you might see happening out in public on the street where someone of Asian descent could be being attacked, whether verbally or physically. There are many ways, many things you can do, so do check out the link in the description down below. Now let's talk about the books. The first book I finished in the month of April was Truthwitch, excuse me, by Susan Dennard. I've been wanting to read this for a while. I heard about it in passing. I don't even remember from who, a year or two ago. I, in particular, remember watching Sam from Thoughts on Tome. She runs Tome Topple, if you're unaware, talking about the Witchlands novels as being underrated fantasy. And this year, Jade from JD Ray Reads decided that she was going to host a read-along. So the March book was book 1, Truthwitch. So I was like, all right, this is my time to get it in, even though I have so many other things to read that I want to read. And I started it in March, did not complete it. March was good reading, but I kept second guessing myself, starting books and then putting them down. Also, I was having issues because of library deadlines. So yeah, let's just say this is late, and no, this is not late, but some other things are I'll be talking about. So anyway, Truthwitch is book 1, like I said, in the Witchland sagas. This is a YA fantasy series, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't blown away by this, but I feel like I can see the potential. There were things here and there where I was just like, okay, I think this series is gonna slowly blow up. This was really a fast-paced read, which, thank goodness, because I had a bunch of stuff still out from the library. But we're following 2 witches on a continent getting ready to quite possibly go to war. There's this 20-year truce between various countries, and it's coming up on the anniversary to be renewed. And that's what's going on in the background. Now, we're following 2 witches here. There is Sophia and Isolde, and they're 2 young witches who are really good at finding trouble, or at least Sophia is. But which is not good because Sophia is a truth witch, and that means her magic, because magic is everywhere here. It seems like, I could be wrong, it seems like most people have magic in this world of some kind. There are levels amongst each type. But anyway, Sophia is a truth witch, which is really rare. And she, in the middle of some quick scheme with Isolde, her best friend and thread sister, as I call it, they come to the attention of a blood witch. A blood witch is someone who, if they smell your blood, they can then find you anywhere because of your blood. As always, there's a thing of she might be used by one faction or another to get the upper hand over others. And they might not care about what she wants. Sophia honestly just wants to live her life free, as does Isolde. Isolde is a thread witch, which is, I'm not 100% sure, but she can see the connections between people, their threads. She just can't see her own. So this starts at like 75 and goes to 200. Like, there's hardly any downtime. A large part of that is because of Sophia. Sophia is very, like, action, emotion, fiery personality. Like, she's like, act first on her emotions, think later. Isolde is, the balance to that is all, you know, thinks of her actions first. She doesn't get as caught up in her emotions as Isolde, as Sophia does, but you know, she's not emotionless. It was very interesting. The magic system, it more reminds me of stuff I've come across in video games. Not a bad thing, just thought. And like this everything took place in this over a relatively short amount of time, and there was a lot of running. Like, I gave this a 3.5 stars. This was just the beginning, and it feels like that. So I'm like very interested to see where this goes, how it deepens, how the girls mature and like learn about life and stuff, and how bad things can get, because I'm a sucker for things getting bad for my characters, for them being tortured, whether literally or figuratively. So yeah, wish me luck on reading the book 2 next month. Book 2 this month in April, though it might be on my next TBR. But anyway, so the next book I finished was The Chase by L. Kennedy. This is a contemporary romance book. I read this as part of the Swoon sisters book club that's run by Who Picked This Book and Deja's World on YouTube and Instagram, I believe. Deja's Book World, excuse me, not Deja's World. But so yeah, they, you know, I've been wanting to read more romance this year, and I like Deja, so I was like, okay, I'll try to read whatever the library has, and this is I think the second book I've read as part of their book club. But anyway, so this is a sports romance and a brother's friend romance. That was the prompt like the categories they put them in. there's a little bit of the grumpy sunshine thing going on too. Just a little. I was here for it. Anyway, so this is book 1 in the Briar U series by L. Kennedy, and I do believe this is a spin-off of the off-season series, but you can read them. This is following Colin Fitzgerald, or Fitzy, who is attending Briar University. He is a hockey player on their hockey team. The other main character in this is Summer, who is new to attending Briar U. She got kicked out of her previous school because of a fire at her sorority, and now she's at Briar U because her parents paid for something and they helped her get in. Fitzy is, you know, a hockey player. You think like he's like a jock, but he's very introverted. He plays video games. His major is the art major at the college or whatever, and you know, he's for the most part a homebody. He hangs out with his fellow hockey players, but that's pretty much it. He likes to keep it low key. Then there's Summer, who doesn't. She likes to party, and she likes to be friends with everyone. She's loud. She's not afraid to get into a fight if it comes down to it. And they're kind of opposites. They don't know really what to do with each other, but they are attracted. Fitzy's fighting it. Summers doesn't know why. And there's a bunch of will they, won't they. There's good tension in this, like good sexual tension. Like, you feel the chemistry as well between the two of them. I liked the characters in this. I liked the characterization, not just Fitzy and Summer, but also all the other football players were introduced to. Brenna, I love, especially her relationship with Summer, and just everything else. Like, hardly a bad thing to say about this. I just felt like it ended kind of abruptly. So there was that, and I like there's I don't know, there was just a little something else missing. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I might change that in the future, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I like this sports romance, especially hockey sports romance, and the ones I've been reading from another author whose name I can't remember right now. I don't hate those, but I don't know. I just feel like the character depth and was more nuanced. Excuse me. I also have to say there is ADHD rep in this. There's some negative self-talk, negative self-image things in here, and trigger warnings for attempted rape or sexual assault from a teacher. So yeah, this was good. Next book that I finished in the month of April. So here's where I begin the announcement. I wanted to start this month with this book because the last couple of weeks, almost all of my anticipated releases came in. For the ones that I did in my video earlier this year, came in. And so I'm like trying to read them quickly. Okay, so this is the first of those. So this and the next wrap up, my April wrap up with the stats, will have the majority of my anticipated releases for 2021, or the ones I was aware of then in them. So I'm excited. Anyway, so I finished The Queen's Weapon by Anne Bishop next. This, like I said, was an anticipated release. This is book 11 in the Black Jewels series by Anne Bishop. I gave it a 5-star because I can't not love this series. Black Jewels trilogy in particular, the first 3 books in the series, are one of my favorite of all time. This book brought back a lot of what that series had that I loved, and so I could not love it. So the previous book, which I did read last year, which was an anticipated book, released last year, I was a little wary. I don't think I gave it 5 stars because some things were happening and I was just like, I'm not sure about this. But anyway, the Black Jewels series, we're in, it's a adult fantasy series. Adult. Like, all the trigger warnings, guys. Trigger warnings for sexual assault, for child abuse, for molestation, for sexual assault, sexual abuse, sexual violence, for physical violence, for verbal and emotional abuse. Let's go back to what the Black Jewels is about. We start with Heir of the Blood, which is book 1 of the series that Daughter of the Blood. I just mixed up 2 titles. Daughter of the Blood is book 1 in this series, where there's a dark world, this dark fantasy world where suddenly there's this ancient prophecy of a new queen coming, a witch that will rule the High Lord of Hell himself. We're living in the world where this dark world where, like, everybody is corrupt. If you are not corrupt, you are dead, enslaved, tortured, quite often sexually, and yeah, so to survive, you gotta be a badass as well, or a badass, a corrupt, or whatever. And in this world, we're following 2 men who don't realize there's a connection between them. They both very powerful, and to keep them under control, they are regularly assaulted and degraded. And in another realm, there is the High Lord of Hell, who is just trying to keep things under wraps. In the midst of all of this, there is a witch who is older, who has been broken, and when you read this, you'll understand what that means in all the ways, but she's not mentally stable, but she does still have some powers, and one of those powers is sort of foreseeing the future. She is the one who is able to give these prophecy to these 3 males, whatever. The Black Jewels series, just FYI, I know Sarah J. Maas is very big on BookTube and Book Twitter. This is one of Sarah J. Maas's favorite series. If you have read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, you will recognize quite a bit from this world. This is a whole lot darker from the get-go. We start out, really bad. And it's not as romance heavy. It's kind of hard to be with all that stuff going on. But there is a kind of almost faded romance in this, even though it takes time. There's a slow build up. So I really enjoyed this particular installment. We're very far into the future. A lot of things have changed. I enjoyed this. We get more of the next generation, which I liked. I did read some reviews from longtime fans like me who felt like the author kind of retconned some stuff from books in between the original trilogy and these last two, and I can see that to an extent. I'm probably gonna do a Black Jewels reread. Maybe this year. Maybe I own most of the books. Definitely not the last two, but most of the other ones. So most of the 9 books, and I do love the world, and I do want to put myself back in it. And there's another complaint about it being repetitive, and I can definitely see that, because like I said, there's this like the old world coming back. This is like there's literally this person reminds us of that person happening in this, not in the reader's minds, but like on the page. This person is reminding those who were around then of someone back then. And they're trying to stop her. But yeah, but I feel like the next generation stuff is just as interesting for me. Like, I like seeing what's happening with Daemonar, and Titian, and Jillian. So yeah. I think there is going to be more. Again, like I said last year with the previous book, just something about the way this is written. It's like there's going to be more, and that's great because she said she was done with this a while ago. So yeah. All right. So outfit change. The next book that I finished in the month of April is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't know if it's Armentrout or Armentrout. I think it's Armentrout. I think that's how most people pronounce it. So, yes, this is book 2 in the Blood and Ash series. I read book 1 last month. What I found out that I think it's Crown of the Gilded Wolves, book 3 of this series is actually coming out in April. And I was like, well, you know what? Let's read book 2, and if we love that, we'll just buy the ebook for book 3, because I bought the ebook for book 1. So, yeah, I got lucky, and the ebook became available to me from my library this month. And then I noticed the other day that it's gonna be due soon, and it's popular, so I won't be able to. Ebooks, they yank right back. So I pushed this ahead of some anticipated releases to finish. Now all of that lead up. Let's talk about this book. This continues, literally picks up right where the previous book ended. Like the same scene, the same conversation that Poppy and Hawk were having. I can't remember to call him Hawk. And we go from there. I gave this book, I think, 4 stars as well. Maybe 4.5 stars. I don't remember. But it definitely wasn't less than 4 stars. And it wasn't 5 stars either. So the thing is, quick synopsis of From Blood and Ash book 1. We're following Poppy, who is the maiden in her country. The maiden is soon to ascend. She has some secret magical abilities. I didn't mention that in the past because I feel like it's better if you learn that. But yeah, she's the maiden, which means she is kept pure, protected, and separate from the rest of the world until she ascends. And the other main character we have is Hawk. He comes on the scene in the beginning of the book, but then we don't see him for a while. He is the love interest. And Hawk is a new guard of the castle, basically. And due to circumstances, he winds up being one of Poppy's personal guards. And things develop from there. So things happen. This is very violent. Trigger warnings in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire as well for physical violence. I don't remember that there's sexual violence in this, but there is in the first one. So, like abuse, physical, mental, emotional abuse. This is more memories that Poppy has from book 1. There's a paranormal element in this. There's a magical element. They are somewhat related. In book 2, we start realizing, or at least I start realizing, that there's a not mythological element, but like their gods, their deity, their spirituality of these kingdoms is more important and more active than you thought in book 1. But yeah, so I like the development of the relationship. This is slower paced, I think, than the first one. It's just as long. There's still this feeling of like, why is it this long? But you don't hate it. There is a lot of dialogue, which I appreciate. The relationships are great. There's a bunch of new characters, and they're very well developed and fleshed out. And there's no threesome in this. There's no love triangle in this one, though we keep waiting. It's more clear what that could possibly be in the near future. But so not much happens in a very shorter amount of time than in the first book. In the first book, there's definitely more info dumping, maybe not info dumping, but definitely world building pieces, because we got to learn about what happened before the present day of the first book. So there's some past stuff. Now there is that as well. Here we get more of Hawk's past and backstory in this one. Now I'm thinking about it. And some more, as Poppy learns more, as Hawk learns more, the more questions start popping up. Like, what exactly happened back then? Because we thought we knew in the first one, and we thought we knew in this one, but we were all wrong. Or not all wrong, but there's even more to it, and it's just like, huh. Poppy's abilities are more addressed in this one. Particularly towards the end. I don't know what else to say, but I enjoyed this a lot. I feel like there's not much more I can say because spoilers. So yeah. The last book I want to talk about that I finished the first half of this month, I actually finished this on April 15th. And that is Wings of Ebony by J.L. And oddly enough, this is a library copy, but it's also a signed first edition. I don't know why the library needs a signed first edition, but that was very, very cool. So this is an anticipated release. This is not, I didn't talk about this in my anticipated releases of 2021 video because I didn't know at the time that it existed. This is a debut novel from this author. I did, however, talk about this in Blackathon. I think one of the first prompts for the vlogs was anticipated releases by Black authors with Black main characters. And by that point, by February, mid-February, I definitely had heard a lot about this book. I didn't really know what it was about, but I did watch an interview with JL, Danielle Clayton, and one other, a Black female author. I don't remember her name, but it was put together by my local indie bookstore, the Lit Bar. Link in the description. Check them out. It's owned by an Afro-Latinx woman, and they offer wine and books. So yeah. Hey, this is definitely like Black girl magic. And look at this cover. Like, I love this cover. Go. This, we're following Rue, who is from East Row in Houston, a hood. And we start off the book with Rue and her sister living with their single mom who, unfortunately gets shot and killed in the beginning. Rue's father shows up out of the blue. She's never met him. He's never been in contact with them before. He takes her away to his country, Gizon, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. But that's how I'm going to pronounce in this video. Please correct me down below if you know. But yeah, he takes her to Gizon, which is not what she expected. It's this magical island. I think it was saying in the beginning off the Cape of Africa, away from South Africa. From Madagascar, I believe. So yeah, somewhere where the Indian and the Atlantic meet. The oceans, I mean. So this country, Gizon, is a place where everyone has magic. Everyone is at the age of 16 or 17, they're bonded so that they get magic. But Rue and her dad are the only Black people there, or the only brown people there. People of color, technically. The Gizon people are gray. We'll get to that. You'll find out why towards the end of the book. But obviously, Rue doesn't fit in. She didn't want to go. She was abruptly taken. She wants to be with her sister because family is everything. She wants to stay in her hood. Because that is what she knows. Those people on her block, in her neighborhood, their family, they stick together, and she don't know this guy, her dad. So, on the first year anniversary of her mother's death, she and the one Gizon that she made friends with have cooked up an idea, a way for Bree to get back to Houston to check in with her sister, let her know she's alive and well. She still cares about her, undetected. She goes there and finds out her sister is mixed up in some local gang issues unbeknownst to her. Her sister is younger. I think she's like 13, so she's concerned, and she winds up doing something to protect her sister that brings the fact that she basically broke out of Gizon and left when she's not supposed to the attention of the Chancellor, the leader of Gizon. So yeah, in the midst of all of this, Rue also finds out that the issues that are going on in Gizon, there's secrets, there's mysteries, there's some, evil, is also very similar to what's happening back in her neighborhood. So what commences is Rue trying to figure out where's her home and how she can save her sister, but also unearth what's going on in Gizon and, finding her personal power and all of that stuff. So the first half of this, I was like, I don't know. I was ready to DNF several times. But I was like, let me push through. This is a debut novel. the thing is, I think the biggest difference between the first half and the second half is two things. One, the writing in the first half, we switch back and forth in time. So this book starts off at the 1 year anniversary of the mom's killing. And so we jump back and forth in Rue's perspective to before the killing, that stuff that happened all during the course of that year's time, and then present day as it goes forward from that anniversary date. And it's kind of jarring. I feel like there could have been a little bit more connections between the chapters of present day and the chapters of the past. Like, there is some, but it didn't feel like it was enough. The other thing is, the other big difference between the first and second half, I think, is that Rue doesn't really know what she wants. Like, what's her purpose? Like, she wants to be with her sister, but all this stuff is going on. So beyond that, she doesn't know what she wants. Here's the main issue I had with Rue's personality, right? So she lives in the hood. There's drugs. There are gangs. There's good people as well. And there's like anywhere else, it doesn't even have to just be the hood. Human beings, they run the gamut. But she has had nothing to do with gangs, with drugs, with gun violence, up until the murder of her mother. And then, literally within days of that, she is taken to Gizon, a completely different culture or whatever. So for 16 years of her life, right, she hasn't been sheltered, but, she's been, for lack of a better term, a good girl. And then, towards the end of this book, we have all this stuff going on, and she's like, all of a sudden, it's Nancy Drew. She's like, oh, I'm gonna sneak into this place because we gotta find out what's going on with this gang. And it's just like, miss, what? You don't know these people? You don't know this gang? You don't know how to sneak into places? That didn't seem realistic to me. And even though, people older, wiser, more experienced were telling her she shouldn't, she did. I was just like, girl, what you know about fighting? Where's all of this? Oh, we gotta have a certain amount of people to intimidate them. I'm like, how do you, what do you know about that? Like, there was no foundation for that stuff. So, yeah. Also, I feel like the magic system in this was not really explained at all. There's some things towards the end that kind of solidify it a bit, but it's still like, why is everything hot? Why does it burn some people and not others? What? And I didn't like the ending because it just ended abruptly. I was like, I'm into this now, and then it just ended. So one of the major plot points of this book from the beginning was not solved. And I was like, I wasn't looking to have this issue solved. The other one, that's the big deal. And just as it feels like we're about to fight on the Gizon side, the book ends. And I'm like, no, you did. Yes, you did. Alright. I had a vague feeling that I remember reading somewhere that this is part of a series, so yeah. But, good parts, because I feel like I'm not saying anything. I'm saying everything negative, nothing positive. I liked Rue's personality in general. Like, she was really down to earth and straightforward. Pretty, not stereotypical, but, you know, what you expect from a teenager who doesn't want to be doing what she does. She don't want to listen to her dad. She doesn't acknowledge him as a dad. Or never mind hers. And then, like, she puts in her headphones when she doesn't want to listen to him. Stuff like that. She sneaks out. This, that, and the other. I love the conversation with her and Bree towards the end where she reveals a lot of things that she found out to Bree, and Bree is like, I don't know. There's discussions on race, and, you know, when one race has stolen from another, and this stuff has been revealed, and yeah, you weren't the one to perpetuate these things, but, and yes, it is an honest reaction to think of yourself first, but, like, that kind of stuff, I love that. I love the relationships between most people. I feel like this kind of leaned a little bit towards there's gonna be a love triangle, and I'm just like, why? I wasn't expecting it at all. There's things, it just, I feel like this could have been better, but it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be when I was doing the first half of this. So I'm giving this a 3.5 stars. I might bump it down to 3, but I'm interested in reading more. I hope the magic system, the world of Gizon, and that stuff is developed, and we get more of Tasha, because I liked her. That was a little sister. So yeah, that's the last book I'm going to talk about in this video. My April reading month is going well. I've got more anticipated releases, so let's just officially call this anticipated release April for me. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books. Click the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you have not already. My April reading wrap-up will be coming soon. I think I might do another anticipated releases video. There's a couple more books I do know about. I don't want to do these quarterly though, so I'll do them when I feel like it. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!